What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Pulse and the host of HBCU Pulse Radio, in the building for another special edition of the show on today, where we are talking about HBCU football. Week 4 is in the books. Week 5 is here. And Arielle Kilgore in the building. Is actually HBCU homecoming season. Shout out to Johnson C. Smith and West Virginia State. It's about to be a long homecoming season, Arielle. How you doing today?
You know, I'm pretty bold to be wearing my Aggie alum stuff after the butt whipping that we got this weekend. But, Aggie pride to the day I die. And we got homecoming the week after next. So it's quickly moving upon us. I hope you got your for Valley State on too. So hopefully you guys had a better weekend than we did. Okay. Well, we're just here in pride. HBCU pride.
I mean, theoretically, we did have a bigger weekend than y'all, but I mean, we lost. I was there. We lost. Like, it's been a bad sports week for me. Fort Valley lost. Of course, our Falcons lost. Ravens lost. My Minnesota Lynx, I root for the Lynx in WNBA. They lost yesterday. They gave up like a 20-point lead. So it's been a lot. So, yeah.
While losing, and then so quickly, Falcons changing head offensive coaches, coordinators. It's a lot going on. And I feel like if we're on the chopping block right now, I hate to say it, but I mean, that one win is not going to carry Sean Gibbs much longer.
Okay. Willis?
We're looking real scary. I mean, if you take into consideration, yes, we got the first CAA win under him. And then also, like I said, we have a lot of injuries. But the way that Central has beat us by 60 plus points back-to-back years, that's a little scary. That is a little scary.
I feel that. Listen, so Arielle, I'm gonna let you go on and go because you have some things you want to say about North Carolina A&T, but I want to say this real quick before I forget. All right, so we put up the episode on YouTube. All right, and we have a YouTube contingent. It's not huge. We're not like First Take. But there's people that watch and they comment sometimes. So I want to read some of the comments about the North Carolina Central, North Carolina A&T game, because I titled it, "Could North Carolina A&T beat North Carolina Central?" Okay. So someone said NCCU NCAT 20, NCCU 62 NCAT 20. NCCU was never behind in this game and almost had 800 yards of total offense. And then they did a laughing emoji, like the one that's on the side, said offense. And then said, Trey looks over on the other side and sees an opponent, even though he and Sean are great friends. Someone said, well, this Eagle Aggie conversation didn't age well. Blowout again. Someone put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 laughing emojis. Someone said, hello, officer. I like to report a heinous assault in Truist Stadium. And someone said the easy answer here is hell no. So that is what they said. Respectfully, it wasn't like how the Jack State folks was getting at me, but it was, they know you an Aggie, so it's all love. So how do you feel about what happened at Aggie-Eagle Classic?
Listen, to be honest, to be beat this bad in your own house is just absolutely embarrassing. I don't. The past 4 years since I have left A&T, maybe I need to go back because when I was there, it was 4 years of greatness, but that was also when we were in the MEAC. So, there's a lot of things that we should go back to. Even the game summary on ESPN made it even worse. It was made even worse. You can see the first 5 paragraphs are all about the beautiful performance of Walker Harris, Chris Mosley, having an outstanding, historic 5-touchdown record game, going down in history at Central. And then you had that one short paragraph, A&T totaling close to 300 yards, the complete offense. And that's the whole story. Where was the offense in this game? But I'm going to take a page out of ESPN's book, and I'm just going to go Central down. Love A&T so much. But Walker Harris, I mean, absolutely amazing. 22 out of 29, 380 yards. This man had a game underneath Chris Mosley, underneath Javion Marlin, underneath Joshua Jones. That whole offense just getting in, even though most of the touchdowns came from Chris Mosley, and then you had some from Arthur Rodgers. Nice to see that they're doing this 2 running back system. It was really nice to see that it's not just about Chris Mosley, even though he had to now stay in the game, but there's other weapons on this Central team that's going to make it absolutely outstanding. If we're talking about Chris Mosley at this second, 11 carries, 168 yards, averaging 3 touchdowns, then added 2 more I just don't understand what happened at A&T at this point, because you look at A&T, you're looking at Kevin White unfortunately having a really bad game, 10 out of 16, 232 yards, one touchdown, but then we had an interception. Nothing much that was going on here. You give Central 2 touchdowns, one being within the first minute of the game. So now they're already up 17-0. You can see my face when I got that notification while watching the game. ESPN can never let me live up. And then by the half, we're down by 17, Central leading 31-14. And in that sense, I'm like, okay, maybe A&T can come back. But from there, it was just a butt woman almost all the way to the end of the quarter, almost going up last year's score. But thankfully, we capped at 62-20, which is absolutely fine for me. Besides A&T's 2 interceptions, there was nothing that could save them. Like I said, you're down to your 7th-string quarterback. You have no offensive weapons. And I think that was the story. Besides the injuries, there was a lack of offense. There was nothing stopping this pass rush. There was nothing stopping Walker Harris. There was no pressure on the quarterback. There was nothing, not even a whole, no kind of effort to even try to stop Chris Mosley from getting out the backfield. And then if you look at these stats of the game, you thought this would probably be a scrimmage. You're probably thinking this is the MEAC swag challenge that we had in the beginning of August. Central had 32 first downs. A&T only had 13. Central, they were close to 800 in total yards, just passing and rushing, but averaging over 700 yards. We had close to 300. I think we were like 295, 298. Forget about rushing yards, because we only have 42 yards. There is no offense that was being put on this display. It was like watching the Falcons and the Carolina Panthers all over again, because for me to wake up and being blown up by the Carolina Panthers, that's a myth to me. But obviously, legends are real when it comes to Central and the Panthers ruining my football dreams. Mosley, just an amazing game, an amazing runner. And what the thing was, Central had more airtime. They had more passing yards than they did rushing yards. Even though Mosley had an amazing game, those 5 touchdowns, running it, having a great running game, most of what Walker Harris did was go back to the basic of his first year and just putting it up in the air. He had too much time in the pocket. And this just makes me feel bad for Sean Gibbs, because as we discussed, this man can't catch a break. You have 1 win out of the 4 games that you have already won. And the rest of these games look to be in-conference games. And I'm not saying I'm hoping A&T is going to try to make a playoff run, but the record that's being set towards the end of November is not looking good. And this performance just shows me that we're kind of going backwards in the team that Sean Gibbs is trying to pull up. I haven't seen a great quarterback recruitment since I left in 2021 going into that 2022 season. And I haven't seen a great offensive line coming out of 2021. There's nothing to me as a coach Sean Gibbs could do more. He has the pedigree. He has the championship. He knows what he's doing. And I don't think really as a staff there's anything you could do. I think it just comes down to recruitment. Comes down to rebuilding what we already have. Because you can grow your quarterback after this year. He's a freshman. You can see what he's doing. He's trying. I'm not trying to discredit his talent. It's that we just need more of it. And in this offseason, hopefully Sean Gibbs is there, despite this being his first year. A&T has to get it together, because despite the injuries and despite what you're working with, this being a blown out game back-to-back years is saying something about the pedigree of A&T's football program. We are no longer elite. We are no longer the A&T that people know. And I don't want us to go back to the MEAC just because it's easier. I at least want to put up a challenge for the next 2 or 3 years. But if we're going to let teams come in our house and beat us by 30, 20, 40 plus points, maybe we do need to go back to the MEAC. Central is now 12 wins out of the 14 losses that we have given them. In the next 2 years, if we tie for this Aggie-Eagle Classic, there's nothing that I can say about A&T that's going to make us any better. We need better recruitment. We need better players. We need a better football team, period. Because the whooping that we took this weekend is undescribable. There's nothing more to put it. We just got we got handed to us, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
I think that's interesting. It's sad too. I'm like, man, because you were so confident. Number one, You were,
was.
yeah.
I was. And I'm just like, we're going to be so great. This is not going to be a risky pick. I'm so scared. Oh my gosh, now we're tied. Jesus, A&T. Lord. I just looked at the overall record. What a weekend, man. What
I'm
a
not. Yeah, the picks that because you should be scared for A&T because it don't look good as far as other games this year. And in Maine, we'll see what happens with Maine. I will say this, okay. First and foremost, I gotta give props to Chris Mosley. Walker Harris had a really good game, but Chris Mosley on the ground, 171 yards, 168 yards if you count the 3 yards he lost, 3 touchdowns, 11 attempts at rushing, had a 75-yard run. But then in the receiving game, he had 90 yards on 4 catches and 2 touchdowns. He himself outscored North Carolina A&T. I'm not saying that shadily, I'm saying that's what he did, even though it sounds like what the word. He did that. And that's how good he is. Like, this guy is really good. And I think that he is going to be a factor in if North Carolina Central makes it to the Celebration Bowl. And I know it's like, well, duh, he's a good player. But I think that even more than Walker Harris, that this young man is going to be someone that's going to determine where North Carolina Central goes. And we thought when Jamari Taylor left that, maybe they'll have a guy and, maybe they have someone that's serviceable, but Walker Harris is going to dictate that game. And Walker Harris will in certain elements, but I think the run game for North Carolina Central is still nasty. And then the fact that he can double as a receiver, man, I think these NFL teams need to look out for Chris Mosley because this was overall, before we get to the A&T portion, like an amazing game from him. And I'm excited to see what he does in MEAC play because I think he'll have some amazing moments. I am not going to be that hard on Sean Gibbs here. I think, and I see how you're looking.
Well, I don't think I was hard. I think it's honest. I don't think it's him coaching. I don't think he's bad, but despite it's like you and Lamar Jackson. It's never his fault. It's not his fault right now. It's not Sean Gibbs' fault. This is what he was given. This is what he's starting with. But from A&T's board perspective, despite getting your first CAA win, and then despite having all those injuries when you play UCF, that is only going to hold him for so long. He has to have victories because despite him trying to rebuild and the good things that he is doing and building the foundation that A&T hasn't had over the past 3 years, they would still look for a way to fire him. And this is the only coach that I could say it's not his fault. There's nothing that he can do. And it's not up to him and his coaching staff. It's up to those recruiters. You have to find better football players because it's not going to happen overnight. He can't train champions overnight. You got to find some pedigree in them. I don't know where you got to go. I don't know if you got to go down to Alabama A&M, talk to my man Shade over there. I don't know if you got to copy out the book of Buddy Pugh. I don't know what you got to do, but you got to recruit. Because it's no blame to him, but they will kick him out if there's no turnover, what the Aggies are doing.
But my only thing is that, because I understand that for sure, but the thing I hate about how we do coaches in this game is that we have to allow an opportunity for incremental success, which is why, and I'm not trying to change the subject, but when I heard that Michael Vick was, he might be in the mix to be Tech's coach. And I'm like, he hasn't even had the opportunity to be a good coach because he lost this weekend. He's 1-3. So can we give him the opportunity to actually turn that Norfolk State program around before we reward him and then have him go up to FBS, right? It's the same thing here where it's like with Sean Gibbs, I don't think he should have left Fort Valley. I'll start there. And I'm not saying it as just the Fort Valley guy. I'm just saying that I liked some things that I saw, but there were some things I was shaky on. And I didn't want to say this on last week, but I will say it this week because I think the coast is clear, okay? He was at Fort Valley from 2022 to 2024. So that's 3 years, 22 season, 23 season, 24 season. When he came into Fort Valley, our rival is Albany State. Albany State has dominated us in a lot of facets, especially this millennium. We were doing well in like the 90s and the 80s, Doug Porter, Kent Schofield, but we have not done well against Albany. The last time we won before 2022 was 2016. I was a sophomore, all right? He came in 2022 with Emmanuel Wilson and crew. Emmanuel Wilson in the NFL now. He beat Albany State 33-23, Gabe Gardenia left, I'm thinking, oh, you're bringing in Quinn Gray. I'm not saying Quinn Gray's a bad coach, but Sean Gibbs has an amazing roster. Kelvin Durham, he has Brandon Marshall from Mercer. He's going to dominate this matchup. Then ultimately, he's going to leave and go to North Carolina A&T. He lost the last two, in which he had a better team. And from Albany against Albany State, he had a better team. And both years, they fumbled away that game. They fumbled it away, and they had leads, and they had the better team that was on the road to the SIAC championship. That sort of scared me a bit going into this matchup, because the reason why I say it scared me is because, well, in your last job, you weren't great in the rivalry game. In your last job, you won one, but you lost two, and you had the better team, and it wasn't a blowout. Because you had the better team, and they still beat you. So you go over to North Carolina A&T, and now it's North Carolina Central. North Carolina Central beat you 66 last year, right? So my whole entire thing is, not only are you tasked with going to try to beat them, you then have to restore the culture from Vincent Brown, who told y'all, man, this game don't matter. It's another game. No, it's not. That's not how it is. I'm not going to say HBCU football, because Sean Gibbs said it himself. Ohio State versus Michigan in just another game. He was right in him saying that. And my thing is, a lot of people saw the comments he made. Oh, it's not another game. It's not another game for us. They're like, oh, he was talking trash. No, he wasn't. He was trying to reestablish that this game is important. Because once again, let's not forget that Sean Gibbs is a North Carolina Central graduate. So he's seen both sides as a player. He's seen it as a coach when North Carolina A&T was winning at certain points, right? So he's trying to say that I know this. I'm an HBCU grad. This game is important. So going into the game, when people are like, oh, well, y'all got this wrong. The reason why I picked North Carolina Central, but I thought it would be close, is because I know mindset and mentality matters. And Sean Gibbs has the mentality to go in there and say, no, like, we're going to go in there and compete. North Carolina Central, they like that, but this game matters to us. When the blowout happened, I wasn't necessarily shocked, but it just, the 700 plus yards was a lot for me. The 20 points was a lot for me. It's to really the on the ground you're successful, in the pass game you're successful. That was a lot for me, because I don't think Kevin White is a bad quarterback. I think that Kevin White is going to be the quarterback of the future. I think he just needs a little bit more development, because under Vincent Brown, he was not throwing that ball. He had him running the ball. And I think that was crazy. They remember, they used to have like 70, 80 passing yards, like, intentionally. It wasn't like, oh, my quarterbacks are injured. Like, he was like, no, Kevin, you're going to be a running back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was back when the Vincent Brown days. Like, you are going to run the ball. So, like, I think Kevin White is going to be a phenomenal quarterback. But I think that you're right about the recruiting aspect. And you said something key, real quick, before I toss it back to you. You said that maybe Sean Gibbs needs to go talk to Sam Shade. Maybe go talk to Buddy Pugh. But you said Sam Shade. And I think what you said is so interesting and very adept, because what you're saying is maybe Sean Gibbs needs to go talk to Sam Shade, because Sam Shade is winning his games, and they just beat Tennessee State, which is an out-of-conference opponent. And it made me think when you said that, because here's the problem. I don't think this is a problem that gets fixed with them going back to the MEAC. I don't think y'all are going back to the MEAC anytime soon. I don't think that. I think that this is a general roster problem, because when we think about, okay, well, North Carolina A&T might not win in the CAA outside of beating Hampton, right? That might be something that's on the board. But why is it that North Dakota State, we get a resource disparity, but why is it that North Dakota State can beat Tennessee State and Test Colorado? Or they can beat all these other contenders, and they might lose in the playoffs, but they make it all the way to like the Final Four in the playoffs. Why is it that North Carolina Central in those Davies Richard years, they were so good, they could beat HBCUs, but they also beat New Hampshire. And they also were beating up on Richmond in 2023. You got to build a team that can beat anybody. And I think that that's an HBCU problem. But I think that North Carolina A&T, the problem is not just that, oh, they're not building a team that can be HBCU good. They've not built a team that's good, period, based on what you're saying, and I agree with. And I think that we got to give Sean Gibbs another year. We got to let him lose this year, because he's going to lose this year. It's just the truth, all right? He is going to lose this year. He already lost this year. He said this is the most embarrassing thing he's been a part of. But I want to see how he retools because he did not have to deal with this at Fort Valley. Why? Because Maurice Flowers, who is at Johnson C. Smith, and they just beat Valdosta State a couple weeks ago. They're celebrating homecoming this week. They lost to Union, but they probably are making it to the CIAA championship this year. They might win and go to the playoffs. Flowers is a mastermind when it comes to scouting talent. So when Gibbs came in and Flowers decided to leave after that 5-5 season, when he got beat down by Albany State and went to Johnson C. Smith, he left Emmanuel Wilson, who's in the NFL. He left Kelvin Durham, who is probably one of the greatest quarterbacks that Fort Valley has seen, that's now at Johnson C. Smith with Flowers. He left a lot of pieces on that offense and defense for Sean Gibbs. So all Sean Gibbs had to do was be a great coach. And just, he not worked with, he recruited people, but your main guys were still there from the Flowers years, where that Fort Valley team tested FAMU a little bit before they ultimately lost in the second half. That was a good team, but things just fell apart because Shamar Bridges got injured. That was the wide receiver that went on to play for the Ravens and got signed, right? So Gibbs, this is new for Gibbs as a coach because Vincent Brown was not a good coach, at least not for A&T, and he did not recruit well. His system sucked. So now you got to resuscitate this broken system at North Carolina A&T and build a winner. So I think it's going to be difficult. It's going to be different for him, but I have faith that Sean Gibbs is going to figure it out. Maybe not by the next time they played Central, but he's going to figure it out. But I think you're totally right about the scouting. This is unacceptable, and it's unacceptable. And I think that he needs to recruit better for sure.
I just when I think about recruitment, I think with Sam Shade, when I was reading his profile, and I was really excited when he decided, hey, I'm gonna be at Alabama A&M. What really stuck out to me was everything he's doing, and you can put this on Buddy Pugh too, is homegrown. And I think A&T is so used to scouting outside of North Carolina. They're used to scouting the four corners of North Carolina, so South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, or they're trying to get people up north instead of looking at what's at home. Majority of the time, most of our quarterbacks historically have been from North Carolina. But in the past couple seasons, our coaches, even under Vincent Brown, are just like, our talent is not going to be at home. And I think that's one of the things that Sam Shade really got right. Stop trying to pick and pull people because HBCUs just right now, we don't have that NIL. We don't have that pool where our resources are minimized despite the growth that we've had in the couple of years in this HBCU movement. But maybe it's time to start at home. Just rebuild the culture, period. Just rebuild what it means to be an Aggie. And if that means that we're just cutting the cream of the crop from Raleigh, from Durham, from Greensboro, from Charlotte, wherever anybody is, start there. Then if you need anybody that you don't see, or it's like none of the places that I'm looking for are touching what I need to have on this team, then scout outwards. But right now, trying to pull people that don't mesh together, or you're pulling people of the same skills but do different positions, getting just talent that isn't well developed. I don't want to say anybody is mediocre because there are some good players on that roster. There are a lot of good players on that roster. But you're choosing people that aren't meshing together. And not only do you have to build a team, but you got to build compatibility. And trying to build people that work well together and that can play football together are two separate things and two hard things to do. People that don't play well together, that's something that has to be learned. People that have talent and know football and all they have to do is learn plays and learn your coach is much better than trying to make people like each other and then do it on the field. So you gotta find talent within yourself. That's why I like Sam Shea, and I think that's why he's so successful right now. That's also why I think Delaware State is so successful. And maybe Michael Vick may be a little bit more successful because they're starting at home. Stop trying to go out places. Start at home, recruit at home, build from home, and then go out. And that's what he might have to do. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say get rid of Sean Gibbs. Like I said, he has a pedigree like no other. And sometimes it's better to have somebody that knows yourself, that's been on the inside, than to have somebody that's trying to come in and make stuff new. Of course, he's going to have to learn new ways, learn new points, learn how to build a team differently. Being a head coach, he hasn't been a head coach at A&T before. His only reference from Fort Valley. So yes, he's new at head coaching. He's new at trying to build a team. He's new at doing these plays. But for me, you got one more year. And I'm sorry, love you down. But if it's not happening, if we're not seeing some kind of winning streak that can happen at A&T, a better record that's happening at A&T next year, the answer, like you said, is not going back to the MEAC. It's just trying to find a culture that's new and finding somebody that makes it work. And if it's not who we love, our beloved Sean Gibbs, it's on to the next.
Yeah, and I think that politicking might help him because I think he's speaking the language, though. I think that he's speaking the language, like the dynasty language of like how A&T was in the MEAC. I think that, like I said, I love the press conference. And, you know, I also like how he took that responsibility and he was like, man, this is the most embarrassing thing I've been a part of. Like, I think that that's important to be like, man, like this is not what we do. And you just have to go out there and rebuild. But I will be honest, I don't think he should have left Fort Valley yet. And I don't think that when the chatter about him going to FAMU when Willie Simmons left, that was premature. I just, for me, people skip steps. And I think that you have to have more experience where you are and sort of deal with sort of the hardships where you are before you jump up. But I understand the money situation. I totally get it. I totally get it. And then he got a family, you know, all this different stuff. I totally get it. But it's just like, I just think some of these folks need more seasoning. But it doesn't happen because it was a 2 timeline thing in general. And I'll move on, but it was a 2 timeline thing in general. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I was rooting for Vincent Brown to be successful because I'm like, I don't want Gibbs to leave yet. Like, we got like at least win an SIC championship, but he was about to go to FAMU before he went to A&T. So it's like we're in an era where I think these coaches are set up for failure because they can't just stay where they are and just win and get that experience before they make that promotional move. And I think that for North Carolina A&T, regardless of if they were in the MEAC or they're in the CAA, I just think that it is a roster problem, like you said, and that has to be curtailed. But I think that one thing that Gibbs will be able to do, I think he did at Fort Valley, and I will say again, the way Gibbs moving, he was not moving at Fort Valley. Gibbs wasn't talking. I know we never no coaches calls and stuff like that. Gibbs was not moving like how he moving. Like Gibbs wasn't talking the way he was talking. Like he was saying, he said, I remember when I interviewed him one time, he said some stuff about like Fort Valley and like the Florida Beach Bowl. But like, as far as like, yeah, we gonna go out there, we gonna win. But like, he's moving different at A&T. So I got faith in Sean Gibbs. Like give him another year and get him some linemen on both sides of the ball. And he will figure out how to beat these white schools. Okay, I'll just be honest, because that's gonna be the big thing. You beat Hampton, all right. North Carolina Central is far from a non-HBCU. They're very much so an HBCU. But I'm just saying, like, you going to Maine. Okay, you going to Maine. None more need to be said. Anyway, I'm just saying he going to Maine. So Arielle, my game of the week was Edward Waters versus Bethune-Cookman. Now in my mind, I'm like, how can I start this? So when I was younger, okay, I'm from Macon, Georgia. All right, I like my parents. They started attending Beulah Land Bible Church in Macon, Georgia when I was young. Like when I first was born, they started attending Beulah Land, 1996, right? And my mom still goes. I'll pop up, but I'll be busy and stuff like that, so I gotta watch online and other stuff. But when E. Dewey Smith Jr., he's famous now. Like he's Deion Sanders' friend, his spiritual advisor and stuff like that. You know, E. Dewey Smith famous, right? He was the pastor at Beulah Land before he went up to Greater Travelers Rest and House Hope. There'd be sometimes, Arielle, where the Spirit will move him and he would say, I'm not going to preach. We just going to sing. And then like they singing the whole entire service and we leave. And we like, he ain't even preach. Like, it's like, but we felt it though. Okay. I'm not going to sing, but there ain't nothing to talk about with this game at all. And there's nothing that for Bethune-Cookman, listen, Raymond Woody, good. I'm glad he won. You're coaching for your job, good sir, and start fielding applications. I'm not gonna lie to you, okay? I'm just saying. Like you beat Edward Waters, but I don't think it gets better for you unless you beat FAMU. I don't think it gets better for you, okay? For Edward Waters, Like I said, because the game, they ain't nothing to tell you about the game. They scored Bethune-Cookman scored 21 points in the third quarter. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not about to give you a breakdown. People don't care about that. So Edward Waters is 3-1 right now, and they beat Virginia Union. And Virginia Union is the reigning CIAA champion, and they just beat Johnson C. Smith this past weekend. And likely, I believe that if it is possible, because I think it is, because they switched to a divisionless format, I believe that possibly, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but we'll see Johnson C. Smith and Union again at some point, because I think that's going to be the matchup. Edward Waters should be given more success in Division II football, or more accolades for their success in Division II football. I read down the resume of what they did in 2023. They beat Tuskegee. They beat Albany State. They almost beat Miles College with Sam Shade there. And, Benedict was beating everybody. So you're not going to fault them for that. They almost beat Fort Valley. It was a shootout that game. They came down to Fort Valley. They lost that game, but they could have very well won that game. Brian Jenkins was just recently given the keys to be the official head coach. They did that actually right after that Union game. I actually missed that. There was so much going on in the world. I actually missed that, and I wrote about it on Clutch Points on, I believe it was Monday or yesterday. I think that is the right move. Brian Jenkins is doing something good at Edward Waters, and it's time that these Division II folks give Edward Waters some love. No, they're not Tuskegee. No, they're not Lenoir-Rhyne. No, they're not Valdosta. No, they're not Johnson C. Smith, because Johnson C. Smith played the first HBCU football game. You know what I mean? So, no, they might not have that pedigree. But at some point, wins have to matter. I wish they beat Bethune-Cookman, but that's not important to the Division II side of things. These Division II polls and these Division II prognosticators, at some point, you got to go against the status quo and realize that this team is really good. And Brian Jenkins has unlocked something, especially on offense. The way they put up 2 40-point games against Miles College and then against Savannah State, when a lot of folks thought Savannah State would do better, because typically they've had a really good defense under this current coaching regime. What Brian Jenkins is doing at Edward Waters deserves some level of props. They deserve to be ranked at some point, because you have Johnson C. Smith that beat Valdosta. They lost to Virginia Union. Virginia Union, they beat an out-of-conference Miles in the Black College Football Hall of Fame Classic, and they beat him down. It's Miles without Sam Shade. You lose to a team that very well could be a contender for the SIAC championship. I just think when it comes to these rankings in college football, especially at this Division II level, you gotta give these new teams some props. Y'all were forced to do it with Chennisberry and Benedict, and maybe Brian Jenkins isn't Chennisberry in the dominance that Chennisberry had at Benedict before he left and went to South Carolina State. But all I'm saying is that Edward Waters needs some level of respect. They lost this game 35-9. They didn't particularly look amazing, but I think that Edward Waters is cooking something up. I think that they have the potential to win the SIAC championship. And I want everybody, especially, and I'll be careful with my words, these non-HBCU writers, these non-HBCU pollsters, I want you all to look at what Edward Waters is doing and put it in context. They're not the best team in Division II football, but they are officially a Division II member. They have become one of the best teams in the SIAC, really across all the sports, especially because I think that they won a championship, I believe, in volleyball about a year or so ago. So they've become a great member of the SIAC. You have an SIAC graduate, Albany State graduate, in Dr. Faison, that is funneling so many resources to make sure the athletics program is doing well. Put them in the polls correctly. Give them respect. They beat the CIAA champion. At certain point, you got to give them respect. So that's all I have for this, Arielle, because, my slate was really bad. And like I said, you probably expected, Bethune-Cookman, they're running back. No. Oh, well, Edward Waters did it. No, I have nothing for you for that. So we singing. We ain't preaching. We singing today, just like Edwin Smith used to do back at Butylin. But that's all I gotta say. Put some respect on Edward Waters. Arielle, you have anything to say?
I think we should commute from here. Altar calls. Anybody wants to accept the Lord Jesus to their heart. Listen. Shout out to Bethune-Cookman. Shout out to them winning. a much needed win after the embarrassing situation last week. Edward Waters can definitely come back from this, and the team that they are, this loss is nothing. Like they'll bounce back right after next week. I think you actually made a beautiful speech, even though you was just singing. You made a beautiful preach about HBCU Division II football, who does deserve respect, because I remember us going ham, going dirty on Virginia Union, like just going crazy about how exceptional they are and how amazing they are, especially while Jada Bias was there. So there's nothing, and for me, like I get it. You know, I've been brought up to culture. Division II football isn't bad. Your best players and coaches come from Division II. So that, you know, and if you really want to talk about it, you know, you can ask Michael Vick. You know, Division II is like that. He's getting whooped up on. So like, there isn't an argument that Division II isn't great. It's an argument of whether we should respect them or not, and that should be yes, we need to, because just because you have this game, but Bethune-Cookman needed this win more than Edward Waters. Honestly, like it wasn't gonna hurt them just to lose one game. Bethune-Cookman, it was. Coach, you're on the road to save your job, maybe, but it's hey, I think you did a great job. Like I said, shout out to Bethune. Edward Waters is coming back next week. Don't let them fool you, man. This is a team that is sneaky good. And, you know, even though they play Alabama A&M, Bethune-Cookman next week, they'll be back to being Bethune-Cookman after that. Because I have slim hopes of them beating Sam Shade in that game. So, listen, we have terrible slates. Because but that was probably my last good game until we get into October. Like that's when we will really get into some nice MEAC play. You know, the SWAC is up and down sometimes, but my slate, I actually didn't like my slate, but I think you'll like my game of the week actually. Because I'm excited.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, real quick, because we're gonna go to game of the week. But I'll say this: what you said was very true, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but when it comes to Division II football, the way people talk about it is so destructive. Because I'll give you a perfect example real quick. So, you know, North Carolina A&T, y'all beat Hampton. That is your first Division II win since 2023, when Vincent Brown actually beat Dawson Owens in Norfolk State. And of course, we talked about that game back then. Winston-Salem almost beat North Carolina A&T last year. So how we look at it, we're like, see, Division II football matters, right? And that was a rivalry game, right? How people in Division I look at it, in the FCS, they're like, when they're arguing against y'all, they're like, A&T, first and foremost, y'all almost lost to a Division II school. Like Winston-Salem was a high school. Like they're not a collegiate football program. You know what I mean? Like it's like FAMU played Albany State. Albany State almost beat them. And we're like, man, Quinn Gray, that's an audition, because Quinn Gray very well could be FAMU's coach in a year or two, right? And that's probably outside like Edward Waters, that might be the SIC matchup, Edward Waters and Albany. You never know, right? So people were talking to FAMU. They're like, y'all almost got beat by a Division II school, as if Albany State is not really good. And I'm not going to change nobody's heart and mind. Like if they think that Division II football it can help their argument as to why one team is better than the other, they're going to continue to do that, right? But I just think it's so reductive, because we're at a point within Division II football where I was at the game, at the Fort Valley Dodge State game, and I'll be brief. We were down 21-16. And it was actually a nice crowd. It felt like homecoming almost. It was a nice crowd. The only reason why I didn't feel totally like homecoming is because, you know, if it's homecoming or you A&T, everybody, it's packed all around. You can't walk to the restroom. It's gonna take you 5 minutes to get to the restroom. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't feel like that. In the stadium, it was packed. All right. Delta State, we actually were beating Delta State. Delta State, they score a touchdown. They go up 21-16 after the PAT. There's a sector of students that get up and leave. 5-point game, Arielle. We Falcons fans, so we know how it can be. 5-point game. You got 27 seconds left. Fort Valley has one timeout. The game is not over. And it's the kickoff. They about to receive the kickoff. You can run that back for, a touchdown. it made me so upset. And I think it is a symptom of where we are in Division II HBCU football, because Georgia would never. Florida State would never. You know what I mean? Like you leave when it's like the fourth quarter, 3 minutes left, and you sadly get your stuff and go to your car. Y'all live on campus. Like Wildcat Stadium is like 2 minutes away from building 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And y'all don't live in building 1 or 2, which is further away from Wildcat Stadium. Like, I just feel like it is a complex about Division II football that threatens our existence. It threatens it. Because if only FCS football matters, if only North Carolina A&T and Howard and whatever celebrity is at Morgan State or Delta or Delaware State or Norfolk State, what are we doing Division II football for? What are we doing it for? Because what if Tuskegee leaves? Do y'all care? What if Morehouse leaves? Do y'all care? What if Clark and Allen leaves? Do y'all care? Do y'all care about Fort Valley? Do y'all care about Albany State? Or is it, we want Virginia State and Union in the MEAC, so now we can have more teams? Y'all don't care about Division II. And it's going to threaten our existence because these students are saying, well, we don't care. I mean, we're going to root for Fort Valley, but we don't care. We don't care. We're going to leave. It's threatening our existence, Arielle. And I hate we can't talk about, we can't talk about D2 more. I can't write about it more. It don't bring traffic sometimes. And we talk about Division I, but we're in a crisis, Arielle, in Division II football. And HBCU alumni from FCS are not helping. And the people say I'm being hyperbolic. They did not see what I see. They did not have the conversations I had. So that's all. Any thoughts, Arielle, before I move on to the game of the week?
Preach, Pastor. Amen. Amen. Randall. Throw my fan up at the pulpit. Collect right now.
Listen, if you on TikTok, we avoided the rapture, so I might as well preach.
Apparently. Wait, no, but I need Jesus to take me. I can't be down here no more. It's ghetto.
Well, not yet. Oh, I need you here. No, not yet. Not yet. No, we need you here. No. Then your birthday's coming up too. No. No.
I don't even want to. That's what got me pissed off today. I can't.
Okay. We'll talk about it.
The viewers don't know. It's been a rough September. Rough September. Literally since September 1st. As soon as it came in, it's it.
No, I totally understand.
And then, just real quick, let me tell you the audacity of my mom's client. I was coming to help her, and I was telling her, "Hey, my birthday coming up," and she was like, "Oh my gosh, how old are you gonna be?" And I was just like, "I'm gonna be 27." She was like, "Dang, you pushing 30, ain't you?" And I said, "See, now if I was gonna say something about your cap scalp and this psoriasis, I would have been in the wrong. But all I said was, I mean, I'm only 27, but yeah, I guess so. Like, why does everybody, like, after 25, everybody's just like, dang, you pushing 30. Can I just be in my 20s real quick? Let me just be in my 20s. And when I'm 29, let's do that. But, like, 27? Dang. Like, everybody calm down. Calm down.
Trust me, I totally understand that. Because I'm about to be 29, on Christmas. So, it's like, I'll say this for me, when it comes to the thing I hate when it comes to age is like people make so much of it, and they make so much of it as far as like the behavior you're supposed to exhibit as someone that is 25 or 26 or 30 or 40, as if you don't have mature people that are 26, 27, 22, and immature people that are 40, 50, 60, or 78 that's in the White House. Okay, you know what I mean? So it's like what, like, people bring age into so much, and it frustrates me so much to no end. Like, it's just like, judge people based on who they are and not like your perception of their age or their generation. And then the people that do it often, they're like, "Oh, these kids, they got TikTok." Like you didn't have Vine. Shut up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they got TikTok now. They doing these Twitch streams. Like, Ustream wasn't popping. Like, oh, they all on group FaceTime. Like, we went on Uvu. Okay, let's not play with me.
It's that drug. It's that drug from USA. From Meta that's got all these
Like, and Arielle, think about this, Arielle. Like, listen, like for some reason, I didn't get the black women's superpower to make friends, because black women got superpower. Y'all make some friends, okay? I would, and I am honest with who I am. I am honest. I had a little bit of a wave my sophomore year when I was student leader, because that student leader thing take you far as a black man. I am not nobody's player, okay? I am not. Like that's not me. I ain't Poindexter, okay? But I ain't nobody player. You know what I'm saying? I've been blessed because I've had success as far as like, material success. People say, "Oh, he's a good black man." But I'm not nobody's player. But I was on Uvu. I was on Uvu too. You feel me? Man, I was on. And we weren't using Skype. We were using Uvu.
Using Uvu. IMVU, what's up? All that good shit.
And Kick, we use Kick.
Oh my gosh. Kick group chats. Bring Kick. Let's get a Kick group chat, please.
Hilarious. But let's talk about your game of the week. Delaware State versus Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart just beat Norfolk State. Delaware State is 3-1. They're making history in them being 3-1. So, Arielle, like, what you think? Who you got?
I mean, let's preface this saying I believe Delaware State could win this. And the only reason why I say that is because I don't think Sacred Heart has a backfield that is going to dominate. Now, we got to be wary, though. Delaware State on a 3-game winning streak. First time in history in a long time. And Deshaun Jackson really making headlines right now. But they are tied with Sacred Heart at that record. But I think Sacred Heart's record right now does not speak to the games that they have been playing. I think we see improvements on Delaware State side in their offense and how they want to flow. I really do think that Caden Bennett is becoming he's the dual threat that Michael Vick wanted. We're seeing more of what Caden Bennett has run for 20 plus yards in each game per game and almost scoring a touchdown in each game with him carrying the ball. So Caden Bennett, an amazing quarterback, an amazing threat to play at least. What we haven't seen is Marquise Gillis been quite the threat he thought he was going to be since that first game that they played against the University of Delaware. He's been very, very quiet in this 3-game winning streak, but I think he is the difference to winning Sacred Heart because Sacred Heart doesn't have a running game that they have established in these past 3 games that they have won. They've all been close calls, including the win against Norfolk State that was 31-28. So I think having the emergence of James Jones and the wide receivers and Wesley and the targets that Caden Bennett is developing, plus Marquise Gillis, I think those are things that are going to help them win against Sacred Heart. I mean, Snyder on Sacred Heart side, he is a really good quarterback. He's a really good passer, very great pocket passer. I think he has established that very, very well. But if we put him up against Gillis in their running back room, I think Gillis is outrunning Summers any time of the day. And if they can get that ground game going against Sacred Heart, this to me won't be a close, like a 10-point game. Nothing that Sacred Heart is going to let them blow out. Sacred Heart is not allowing that to go down. But without having an offense that you can, hey, we can run it a little bit down the field, we can pass a little bit down the field, and then you don't have as much of a motor quarterback like how you have in Caden Bennett, I think we're going to see those differences and actually those strengths in Delaware State kind of top over what Sacred Heart may be bringing to Delaware State. And so, in that sense, yes, Sean Jackson can win this game easily if he wants to, just because there are more advantages on Delaware State side than there is Sacred Heart. But it's still going to be a game in general. But they 4-1, I think we can start making the argument that the fight for the Celebration Bowl is getting a little too close, because even though Central will be 4-2 now with this win against A&T, and then we have South Carolina State. If they win, they should be 4-1. It's a real close race right now of who's going to be at the top. That's when we get into October and we get into November, when we get into those conference games in the MEAC. One slip, you can completely be out the competition. And right now, Delaware State is not giving up anything. But I'm actually very shocked, and I owe apologies to Deshaun Jackson. It's showing me that he is a true Eagle. He is a true champion. And right now, he has everything figured out and is having a better debut than on that other side of the North. Because, oh my goodness, going 4-1, already being 3-1, we're seeing something amazing in his coaching.
Yeah, you picking Delaware State for sure. I'm picking Delaware State as well. I think that what separates Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson is, I think, the coaching staff around them. And I think that the key person, there's a lot of key people that's on Deshaun Jackson's coaching staff, but I think Travis Clark, being his right-hand person that he served under when he was at Woodrow Wilson High School back in California before he became Delaware State's head coach. Because Deshaun Jackson, of course, as you know, he was the offensive coordinator at Woodrow Wilson High School. So I think that just the coaching staff really is helping out. And he got some really good players. I think that what we're going to see a narrative moment. And here's the reason why I say we're going to see a narrative moment. Sacred Heart just beat Norfolk State 31-28. If Delaware State beats Sacred Heart, and especially if they beat them convincingly, there's going to be some conversations that are going to be had. And I am ready for some conversations to be had, because there is no way, there's no way in hell Michael Vick should be having any conversation about being Virginia Tech's head coach. And people are like, but Randall, Virginia Tech's bad. They're FBS bad. FBS bad. FBS bad and FCS bad are two different bads. I hate to say it, but it's true. FCS bad is about to lose to Virginia State when y'all swear Division II football, you lost to Division II school. FBS bad is losing to Norfolk State. You know what I'm saying? That's FBS is like, you lost to Michael Vick and Norfolk State, you are fired. FBS bad is going 0-3 and saying, you know what, we want to go a different direction. We're going to have an interim coach for the rest of the year, and then maybe get Michael Vick, who hasn't won an FCS game, to be our coach next year because he can recruit. That's FBS bad. like FCS bad is, well, Dawson, we're going to fire you for going like 5-6. We're going to bring in Michael Vick that's going to go like 2-8 or 2-9, whatever games they play in FCS. It's like that. Like, so if Deshaun, the reason what I'm saying is because people talking about Michael Vick and Virginia Tech, Deshaun Jackson is quietly building a winner at Delaware State. And I'm not going to disrespect Trey Oliver, because Trey Oliver likes to put up 60 points on people. Okay.
A little too soon. A little too soon.
I'm just saying. He likes to. So I think Trey Oliver sees Deshaun Jackson, and I'm pretty sure Trey Oliver, he ain't looking too far down the road. He's ready. He's like, North Carolina A&T is not the only school we're putting 60 points. We might put 80. You know what I'm saying? 81 points like a Kobe game.
You also got to think about the South Carolina State game back in 2020. That was a 60-point game. Let's all calm down on A&T in these back-to-back 60-point games. He's put up 60 against South Carolina too. He's put up 60 on every opponent that's coming to their yard. He put 60 points in South Carolina State yard. Let's all calm down in the disrespect for A&T. We know we are bad right now.
Hilarious.
He put 60 points wherever he goes. All right? That's the game that popped up in my head. That's South Carolina State game, not this A&T game. We know right now.
Fair enough. But Delaware State, they're definitely gonna win. I'd be shocked if they don't. Because Sacred Heart, like, just from what I saw, Sacred Heart, I mean, they're not world beaters. It's not like, oh my gosh, they're so good, they're beating these. No, like Norfolk State should have beat them, and Delaware State absolutely will beat them. I'll be shocked if they don't. My game of the week is actually a really good one, Arielle. It's Alabama State versus Florida A&M. And I said a couple weeks ago that, hey, depending on how this game go, I might ready to make some projections. You know how when you watching politics and like they make a projection based on you have enough percentage of the vote of the population of the voting population in, and they'll say we're ready to make a projection, and then they'll be like so and so is one Georgia or whatever, like they're like, oh well so and so won whatever Bibb County or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like they'll make projections based on the percentage of the vote you have in and the returns. I may be ready to make a projection, and that projection might be Alabama State is going to that SWAC championship, and Alabama State might be winning that celebration. But I might be ready, but I need to see what this FAMU game looks like, what this Jack State game looks like. Now, why am I saying that? Andrew Body is an amazing quarterback. I think that offense is finally clicking in a way that hasn't clicked in the years that Eddie Robinson has been there. I think that they've had a phenomenal defense, and they've had, some good quarterback play in pockets. But I think by and large, they've not had a quarterback that is as adept with his arm talent as Andrew Body. But then Andrew Body can also run too. And I think that Eddie Robinson, unlike his hubris of last year, is finally using Andrew Body right. Andrew Body is not a tight end. Andrew Body is not a running back. Andrew Body is a quarterback that can run, that can throw, use him appropriately in that way. Then you have supplementary pieces around Andrew Body at wide receiver, at running back. Then you have a defense that is good. I mean, I know they played, UAB, and it was a crazy shootout game, and they played Southern. Southern's offense isn't that impressive. But I think that this is going to prove the concept that Alabama State is here and they're ready to make some things happen. So I think that Alabama State's going to win this game. I'm shaky on FAMU. I just really, and they had a bye week last week, so we didn't get a chance to see them in action. But I'm shaky on FAMU. I think that some changes are coming after this year. I honestly really do. If they lose this game, and of course they lose to Jackson State, and they're outside of the SWAC championship and Celebration Bowl picture, I think Cozy might be on the way out and Quinn Gray on the way in. So I think this is a big game for James Cozy and his staff too, because Alabama State is really good. I think it's going to be most likely the game of the week in general. So Alabama State for the win. I'm picking them.
I'm going to agree. I believe Alabama State can pull out with this win. I'm not really shaky on that. It's just because the performance from Florida A&M has not been great. I mean, losing to Howard, that just put a dent in my season of how I projected them. I mean, FAU is not really a game. I don't like how close Albany State was to almost beating Florida A&M. But then you look at Mississippi Valley State, who has been putting up a fight, a crazy fight against their opponents. You got Central right after that. We already know that's to be down. Alcorn State and Southern, I mean, you have some games, but the way that this offense isn't clicking and the way that it takes them so long to get up and get in rhythm of the game, you can't do that with Alabama State because Andrew Body will throw a dart on you and you'll be down 14-0 and don't know what's happening. Alabama State is starting to have that rhythm. They're starting to move quick. They're starting to figure out who they are as a team. And I don't know if I'm ready to declare them as SWAC champions. I'm not ready for that. But I do believe that they're making this race is no longer tight anymore, who we may see in the end, but they're making a pretty strong argument that, hey, if we beat this FAMU team, y'all need to start putting some respect on our name. And I would love to see how far Andrew Body could go while we still have him, while he's not injured anymore, because let me tell you, that was a mediocre season after that. Not anybody's talent, but it's just like you literally have the number one quarterback recruit right now, like literally number one, and we couldn't see him play last year. So to see the type of season that he's having and to go up against a team that is historic for being absolutely amazing. These past couple of years have been terrible for FAMU. So if this upset, to me, it would be upset. If this upset happens, I don't know if I want to hear from you next week, but I'm willing to listen to your argument as to why they will be SWAC champions. Right now, I guess we're in agreement, which could be a good thing. Well, actually, I don't know, because every time we agree, my record look a little teetery. But these two games, I don't think it's like, these two games are definitive to me. Like, Delaware State is going to win, and Alabama State, to me, is going to win. I can't really argue that they're not.
Well, that means we can get to our quick picks. So we actually agreed. We were 3-1 in our agreements last week. So South Florida beat South Carolina State. Delaware State beat St. Francis. Alabama A&M beat Lane. The only thing we were wrong about is that we both picked Hampton to beat Howard, and Howard whooped Hampton, and they won their first game against Hampton since 2014, which is insane. Okay, so we were 3-1. Now, what we disagreed on, Morgan State versus Central State. I picked Morgan State. You picked Central State. You picked Central State, right?
I did.
Wow. So I was right about that one. Norfolk State versus Sacred Heart. I picked Norfolk State. You picked Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart won. So you were correct on that. I should have known. I should have been right there with you. Grambling versus East Texas A&M. I picked Grambling. You picked East Texas A&M. You was almost right though. Grambling won 31-28. So is that really a win? So Prairie View A&M versus Northwestern State. You got a lot of faith in Northwestern State. You got a lot of faith in them. I picked Prairie View A&M. You picked Northwestern State. Now, granted, we know Prairie View A&M. They escaped it, but I was correct on that one. Our records I was 5-3. You were 4-4. So yeah, it was really narrow. Okay. So we weren't too bad in the games that we agreed on. All right. And our overall record, we are now tied 45-15. I have edged back up. Okay. So now we sit in the same seat. Okay. So let's get to
I just had such a great week last week. Like I was riding off that high, man. It was such a great week.
Hilarious. So let's get to our quick picks. So Norfolk State versus Wagner. Who you got?
I got Wagner.
I got Wagner too.
Yeah, I need Norfolk State to show me something. I will take it if actually I'll only take it if Michael Vick makes it a close game. It's only a win if Norfolk State makes this a close game. If Michael Vick wins, like kudos, would love it. But against Wagner, I'm not seeing it.
I have no faith in Michael Vick and Norfolk State, and they got me very upset because this Virginia Tech talk. Oh my God. I just the celebrity privilege. I have no faith in Norfolk State. Right now. If they win, they win. I'll take the loss. I don't care. It's
QB celebrity privilege or offense celebrity privilege because we're not getting this talk about Deshaun Jackson. No shade, no tea, but
yeah, it irks my soul so much. It honestly really because it's like we got to go and go. He is not proven to be a good coach, and I think it's okay to say that.
It is.
I think Michael Vick could be like, that's fair, you know.
They're not gonna hate you like if you were to say that about Dion, which right. You know, we're not gonna get into that. This is not his episode. Let's go ahead. Who's next?
Yeah, and I think there's some reasons why they won't hate it for Michael Vick, but they hate it for Dion. I think there's reasons why that we're not going to discuss. Howard versus Richmond. Now, this is actually a tough one. Who you got here?
I like both of them. I do like what Howard's doing, but something in me is telling me to pick Richmond.
I think I'm picking Richmond too. Yeah, I'm picking Richmond too. So you gonna pick Richmond?
Oh gosh, yeah. Wait,
yeah.
you don't like me?
Yeah, I'm picking Richmond too. So we pick Richmond. Because Howard's still shaking to me a little bit, but they're 3-1, so shout out to them. All right, so Morgan State versus Miles. So this is who you pick here. Morgan State and Miles College.
And see, I just heard your whole sermon. Beautiful sermon. I left sanctified and filled. The Spirit was there. This is like who I hate more. Do I hate Derek Carr more? Or do I hate Baker Mayfield more? And in this situation, Baker Mayfield is Morgan State. No offense.
Well, Baker Mayfield's good. I mean, so it's like, you know.
Yeah, I only hate him because he's good. Derek Carr, I hate him because he's a terrible quarterback and people praise him. But Miles is a good school. They don't have that terrible aspect. It's just, they're just unfortunately the Derek Carr in this situation. I hate to do it, but I'm about to be so shallow right now, and I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. But I don't see Miles being Morgan State. I don't see this D2 team specifically being Morgan State. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Like, Miles, they just lost Sam Shea. Sam Shea was just a different conversation. But they just lost Sam Shea. Chris Good needs some time to work it out. No, it is perfect. You don't fall into what I said in the Edward Waters segment. It's not you, okay? It is these other people. As a matter of fact, it definitely isn't you. Because you're a North Carolina A&T graduate. It's the people that don't like y'all that's like, oh, the only team y'all beat was a D2 school. So it definitely isn't you. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all definitely hired a D2 coach. So, I mean, definitely is not y'all. And as a matter of fact, Morgan State hired a D2 coach. Damon Wilson was like great in Division II. And if and when he gets fired, holla at Fort Valley. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. We rock with Marlon Watson, but just in case. Marlon Watson, you might want to get promoted, man. You don't want to stay in Fort Valley. Just go in and leave, and we bring in Damon Wilson. You'll be all right.
So you with me, Morgan State?
Yeah, Morgan
right.
State. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But I'll tell you, I feel it in my bones, Arielle. Ray Lewis is coming.
Don't bring.
I'm telling you.
Don't bring that man over here. Don't bring that man over.
No, bring him over here. Do you want to realize how many views we're gonna get? No, bring him here. He's gonna come in and he's gonna be the closest thing to Deion. You know, he charismatic. He be doing the motivational stuff. You know what I'm saying? Tell you. So we gonna see. So South Carolina, this is actually a really good one, Arielle. This is a really good one. South Carolina State versus Charleston Southern. Who you got?
And also excuse me and to preference this in the MEAC race. Right now, South Carolina State is 2-2. Not necessarily going off of what is going on right now. They're still in this race. It's anybody's game between them, surprisingly, Delaware State and Central. But going into this game, you know, this actually should have probably been my game of the week, but I was just so excited to see what Delaware State was going to do. I gotta go with the fam. I'm going with South Carolina State.
Okay. So I'm doing some research because I don't want to speak erroneously. Okay. Because I'm trying to make sure that Gabe Gardenia is still at Charleston Southern because I'm not going to say a lot to you. I don't pay attention to Charleston Southern. And okay, so just to make sure, I'm looking at my phone. This him. Okay, I want to make sure because I'll be like Gabe Gardenia. They be like, he don't even coach he don't even coach Charleston Southern no more. What is man talking about? Okay, because I thought he might have got fired. So get Coach Gabe. That's he was at Albany State. Okay, so what we have here is an SIAC. So an SIAC, sort of reunion because you got. He's so funny. You got Chennis Berry, former Benedict coach.
Yeah.
And you got Gabe Gardenia, former Albany State coach. Okay. So Gabe Gardenia got up out of Albany State and he went over to Charleston Southern right after Chennis Berry and Benedict beat Albany State en route to winning the SIAC championship in a historic fashion. Mm-hmm. So now they meet again as Division I coaches. Okay. Now, South Carolina State, I didn't like their offense in that first game, but they're they're good, and I think that they're going to be competing in the MEAC. Charleston Southern is currently 0-4. They lost to Vanderbilt, Coastal Carolina. They lost 28-35 to Lindenwood. They lost 34-7 to William and Mary. I'm picking South Carolina State.
I'm about to say, how much man?
Gabe Gardenia, when Quinn Gray goes to FAMU, Gabe Gardenia come back to Albany State. They love you. Okay, just go back, go back. Like LeBron, I'm coming home. You know what I mean? We're not gonna specify who made that song, but hey, you know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna talk about who made the song, but just do that. Okay, you go back to Albany State. So North Carolina Central versus East Texas A&M. Who you got?
I'm just being a hater. I'm not even gonna hold you. I just hate the way they beat up on this weekend. But I'm not finna let that shoot my pride.
Okay.
I'm not finna do that. I wish I could, but I'm not finna do that. Unfortunately, it's gonna have to be Central for me.
It's not unfortunate for me. North Carolina Central, East Texas A&M, they playing better than I would expect, but no, North Carolina Central is going to win this game. It's different. It's different.
It's not unfortunate for you. It's unfortunate for me because as a rival.
But you like North Carolina Central though. You've been their champion on this show.
Yeah, they're great. I love them. Just not when they play against A&T.
Well, they're not playing against A&T this week, so it's like they already did. They've been there, done that. Okay, so.
You know what? I can't wait for next week when all these shots are over. Man, it's just bow, like double homicide in here.
North Carolina Central is going to win this game, so we both agree North Carolina Central. I don't think we disagree yet, so that's good. That's really good. So Alabama A&M versus Bethune-Cookman. Can we agree Alabama A&M?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought that I mistook that for your game of the week. I was like, didn't we already did that? But it's not. it wasn't. Yes, but yes, we can. Wait, where's your dog sound, man?
I don't have it anymore.
Dog.
And then I got this new computer. I can't even connect my board to the computer. It's connected. Like it's hopefully my microphone's working. But like, you know, like if it's not working, we got a problem. But like, you know, I can't do it anymore. You know what I'm saying? I got like hold on, I'm gonna play I got this ad sound. I got that. You heard it? I got
that's not my
that's Babel. That's Babel. That's that. And I'm gonna play this one. I'm gonna play this one. This is a old. We're gonna move on, but this is the one I used to use back in the day. Like I hope you can hear it.
You're listening to the Randall Barnes Experience on HBCU Pulse Radio.
That's the old school one. That's the old school one right there. You know what I'm saying?
It's it's 6:00. Turn the grade.
It's 6 o'clock. That you feel me? You feel me?
If you from Georgia,
yeah.
you know. If you from Georgia.
Oh yeah. Because I don't like I'm looking. I don't have it. I don't have it. Dang. I got this Eddie George one. I got. So let me say this real quick. In 2021, Nick Cannon did a show where he paid off the student loans of HBCU students, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I interviewed, and you know Jada Jenkins, you know Jada, and she was my Miss Clark Atlanta candidate. She got on the show. Someone reached out to me, and then I'm like, hey, you get Jada, and Jada went on the show. She got student loans paid off. Meanwhile, Salem, they jacked up my student loans. I'm paying like $468 now. Now I'm gonna tell the price. I'm paying $468. I was paying $300. Now I'm paying $468, and they didn't tell her brother. That's crazy. So like, you know, I still have the I still got like the theme song for Nick Cannon.
Where all my players, friends and family, smiling every day, and everybody saying,
I still got that.
Easy.
I'm pretty sure Nick Cannon don't got it. Nick Cannon don't got that anyway. So that's still on my board. So that shows you, like, yeah, that dog sound is going. You got to settle. You got to settle for this one. That's what you got to settle for. You got to settle for that. Hilarious. Okay, so we both pick Alabama A&M. So Texas Southern versus Mississippi Valley. So I don't want to disrespect Mississippi Valley. So who you got? I want to disrespect them. No,
we're disrespecting them anyway because we're not going to choose them.
We're not. I want to at least make a decision, like, you know.
Okay. Sorry, I'm picking Texas Southern over Mississippi.
Okay, I am too. So we agree after the fact. Okay, we had to think for a second. Okay, we had to think for a second. You know, so it's not so. Terrell Buckley, don't get mad at us. You know, we had to think for a second, and then we picked Texas A&M. Texas Southern.
We didn't run over them this week like how we always do. But okay.
Now here's what I want to do. I want to say, can we agree Jackson State's gonna beat Southern? But I don't want to do that to him. No, I want to do. Who you picking? I want to do that to him.
I'll pick Jackson State. I'll do it to him.
Okay,
I'll do it to him. We can agree that Jackson State is gonna run over Southern. They
about to run over Southern. Oh, and this Boombox Classic. Oh my God! Like Southern, I don't know. I know they won a bye week last week, and maybe they'll be better this week. I don't know. Jackson State is going to. I would have made this my game of the week, but I'm not going to do that to myself. To be honest, I just see that horrible offense. I'm just shout out to Kelby Givens. Hopefully Kelby Givens has a good game, but no, I'm picking Jackson State. Can we agree Alcorn's going to beat UAPB?
Oh, now you want to agree. Now you just want to skip and bypass. Yes, we can definitely agree. Definitely agree.
Okay. It looks like we're going to be in agreement on everything, maybe.
Oh, God.
So, Hampton versus Elon. Who you got?
I have Elon.
I do, too.
Oh, my goodness.
I pick Elon, too. Yeah, I pick Elon, too. We got to make up a game. You know what I'm saying? We got to do Atlanta A&T versus Morris Brown or something, like, you know.
We could possibly lose that too. I don't know. I don't know, man. Well, this next one we might.
Tennessee State versus Tennessee Tech. Who you got here?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah,
I have Tennessee Tech.
I do too.
Oh my gosh. I thought.
We are going undefeated. We WEEEE. We are going undefeated. It's gonna be the best birthday present ever. Where we have an undefeated week. We
the first time probably since we've been doing this, we might an undefeated week.
Yeah, might as well. We got the same record. So, now here's where it gets sticky. Okay, North Carolina A&T versus Maine. Who you got?
It's actually quite clear.
Okay,
Me ain't nothing sticking. Maine is
okay.
gonna make his way through it. I guess us again, Lord.
Yeah,
Just
Maine is Maine
just no prayers. Just prayers. Prayers that nobody is hurt. That's it. Just prayers. But bless them, Lord, because it's gonna be a rough next 2 months.
But Arielle, great show on today. Where can we find you on social media?
Wow. I don't even know if y'all want to find me, but if you do want to find me, you can find me on Instagram at __.modernday_Ari. You can also, apparently, you might want to put me in the hot seat on X, formerly known as Twitter, on @screwy__. Or you can go to my website at arielkilgore.my.canva.com.